Griffin the Griffin by BlackWing. Chapter 50. The part where stuff happens. And here we are again, the Dominion. I just realized we've traveled around the entire world. Kind of makes you feel small, you know? Trixie added. Yeah, it's a big world and we've been all around it. Griffins, hear me! You have been freed from your shackles. We are now in the land of our forefathers. Go! Return to your families. Become whole once more. Tell any who will listen to fly to tail feather. That is where we will organize and prepare for our future. A future where we do not starve, where we do not live in fear, and where we can feel joy. Go! Spread the word! And my speech a resounding cheer erupted. I'd spent most of the past 2 weeks motivating them, while Mari and Selma worked overtime to make sure everyone was fed. Our food reserves were running low, but we didn't have to drop any off because I had taught the Griffins on board how to get clams and how to use gems for basic survival spells like making fire and such. That way they could spread my knowledge throughout the Dominion without me actually needing to do it. This would ensure that when we returned after our time in Canterlot, we would come back to a large number of well-fed, happy Griffins, ready to follow where I lead. Most importantly, I had given them initiative. They were depressed to the point where not even wanting to get up anymore. But now, they had a reason. They had a small sliver of hope, and made their fires burn even brighter. They disembarked, heading to their homes to reunite with their friends and family, and to spread the word. So, what do we do now? One of the unicorns on board asked. We head to Canterlot. I've already contacted Celestia, and she'll make sure you get home. Same with the zebras. I can't believe it! I'm finally getting home! An earth pony mare started crying for joy. Pretty soon, all the ponies on board were crying and smiling and talking about their friends and their families, and who they'd see and what they'd do, as well as what they'd see and who'd they do. A little too much info there, but they were happy nonetheless. Well, we should arrive in about a week. The air above Equestria is calm, so even though the distance is greater, we'll be moving much faster. That leaves... wow, 3 weeks before the wedding. Jeez. Well, we can do a food run, get some supplies for the Griffins, bring some with us to the Canterlot for the wedding, then to the islands, and then head back up to our second assault on Gem Fido.
Let's not forget there's going to be some sort of attack on the city around that time,
Gilda reminded me. It'll all turn out. It's supposed to be all around that time. It might be over before we even get there, or it might happen after we leave, or it might happen during the ceremony. If it happens while we're there, well, we just do our thing. It'll also mean that our crew gets some action. They've mostly been stuck on the ship. I don't want them to go stir-crazy. Nah, we cats like our naps. There's a nice breeze high up, Nadine explained. Well, I still feel kind of bad about it, but they'll get to do their bit eventually. Well, let's go. Oh, I almost forgot. I gotta get Growl to paint our flag on the side of the ship. Tiny little flag, it's harder to see with this thing blinding everyone. Meanwhile, with Celestia and Luna. Ruin his fun. Well, pirates will be pirates, Celestia giggled. Troll, a trickster. Well, he pegged you pretty well, sister, Luna laughed. Yes, I suppose he has, and he admits to being one as well. I have to think of more ways to get him now. What do you mean, more ways? The younger sister asked. Well, Wait, you pardon him for that reason? Well, in addition to the other ones, but yes. He seemed so proud to have a high bounty. I knew he'd be upset when he got pardoned. The Sun Princess laughed. By the way, how did that go with the press? Well, I explained that his bounty was reflective of his ability and not his crimes, and that they were few. His service was outweighing them heavily. They accepted it pretty easily. After all, I am their princess. They take everything I say pretty well. Although it's upsetting that he failed to take the Diamond Dog Warren, it means his task will be far more difficult due to them refusing leadership by an outsider. Perhaps we should ask Echo to take that position? He seems to have a good relationship with Griffin, Luna suggested. Yes, that may work. We'll have to discuss it with him should we meet. Other than that, we have 26 ponies of various types, and 20 zebras as well to get home. Bringing them here to the capital in and of itself will be enough to get him in the public eye, the sister smiled. Why can't every pony be this helpful? Meanwhile, with the main 6.
So then he was all, "Hey, ugly!" And the dragon was like, "Grr," he launched at it.
Piggy was going over the battle with the CMC and Pip.
And then he fell into the ocean, and I had to drag him out of it. He looked like a rat had decided to go for a swim.
Dash joked.
So who would win in a fight?
Scootaloo asked.
Me, hooves down. We had a sparring match on the deck, and I beat him. Although, to be fair, he almost got me.
Rainbow Dash explained.
So they've been pawed now? But they still call themselves pirates.
Pip pondered.
Yuppers. Not sure what they're going to be up to now, though.
Pinky, Rainbow, come on. You're going to be late for our picnic. Twilight called over hill.
Quit your worrying, Twilight. I'll be there in...
Yes, I know. 10 seconds flat. Catch a lot later. Ah, here we are. So why is there a freaking bubble around it?
You warned them of a possible threat, remember?
Gilda smacked me on the back of the head. Oh. Ow. Right. Well, I think we should knock. You're kidding. Trixie deadpanned. I just looked at her. Anyway, you tried to knock and they'll consider it an act of hostility.
Now so, lassie. I got the first one finished. Try her out.
Steelhorn sauntered up with a fairly large-looking laser on a mount. It hooked right into my armor support, so it was easier to move and wouldn't fall off. Yet it was still maneuverable, as it was on the end of some kind of metal arm thingy. Think of the miniguns from Aliens, how they had a support arm hooked from their waists for better mobility. It would clamp down on Trixie's hooves when she put them in it. It had a single large gem set in it, so she could charge it and fire it at the same time, making for a constant beam, and the size over power providing more power.
It's about 1/3 the strength of the ship's gun, but with constant firing means you can sweep it in an arc. The handheld ones will be better against light or no armor, while this one can melt through steel in 5 seconds. At least, it should. This is the test fighter.
Alright, well, Trixie, let's knock. My unicorn rider hopped on my back, strapping her rear hooves into the harness, while putting her front ones on the side of the gun, mounted to my back on the arm. She moved it around a couple times, checking mobility. It was easy to move since I was bearing the weight, and she just had to move it against the resistance of the arm, which wasn't much. Her horn began to glow, and so did the shaped gem in the gun. Lumen! She pulled the trigger inside, sending a bright white beam into the shield bubble around the city. Of course, it just burned the spot, not doing any damage to it. The beam went out, we waited a couple minutes, and nothing happened. Should we try again? Nadine asked. Screw it. Tyrus, you knock! He brought the main gun around and fired it at the top of the shield, so it wouldn't hit anything if it passed through. But it didn't. But the shields were definitely weakened from the beam. We saw a lot of movement from within, and a couple minutes later, a large number of armored Pegasi as well as some unicorns in an airship came to meet us.
Surrender now!
They bellowed.
Knock, knock, bo suckra!
I cheerfully retorted, bringing in looks of confusion.
What? Lower the shield and guide us in. Princess Celestia is expecting us.
And just who are you, and why did you attack Candelon? A unicorn stallion, wearing fancier armor, asked from the ship flanking us. He had the typical bro accent that I would have expected him to be in a surfing competition, not in guard's armor.
We're the Griffin pirates, and we didn't attack.
We were knocking. Also, were we supposed to get your attention? If you are who you say you are, why didn't you just send a letter to the Princess Celestia? And this was more fun. Besides, she's busy, and we needed to test out our newest weapon. Your shield held. That's good. You're not going into the city. I face-clawed inside. Alright, fine then. Send some chariots up here and take the slaves we rescued so we can be on our way. The much happier and healthier-looking captives left their rooms and came up onto the deck to prove our point. That won't be necessary. I turned around to see the majestic, enormous form of Princess Celestia glide in and land on the deck. All the ponies and zebras bowed, as did the guards. She glared at me menacingly, and I shrank ever so slightly at the imposing figure, but I recovered and gave a stupid grin. Hey! Nice to see you again for the first time, I said in the cutest little kid voice I could manage. She lost her glare and wore a smile. So you're this Griffin I've been hearing so much about? Yep, that's me. I have to say, you're shorter than I expected. She smirked. Oh, trolling, are we? Nah, you're just bigger than everyone else. Looks of shock came from the guards and ponies as I was basically insinuating that Princess Celestia was fat.
Well, I have been eating far too many sweets lately. I must thank you again for warning me about that cake. I managed to sneak an extra slice. We both smiled after she gave me a wink, and my crew broke out into laughter. Captain Shining Armor, lower the shield, she commanded. He opened a hole in it for us to pass through. I told Steelhorn over the PA that we were good to go, and the ship slowly began moving forward. Wait a minute. You're Shining Armor, Twilight's brother? How do you know Twilight? He became stern as he crossed the gangplank onto my ship. Do you even read the newspapers? I was under the impression that everybody knew about it at this point. Heck, slaves in the mines knew about it. Anyway, long story short, I saved her flank after she tried to arrest me. By the way, have you told her about your wedding yet? His eyes went wide. Oh, I knew I was forgetting something. Between planning the wedding and bumping up security, it's totally slipped my mind. I'll send her the invite. You're going to tell her in a note? Are you serious? What's wrong with that? Never mind. I was going to catch hell for this, and I think I'll just let him. Oh, where are my manners? Welcome aboard the Possibility. While the captain is busy gliding us in, perhaps you'd like to take a look around? I'll be the one to give the tours. Steelhorn slid down a ladder from the bridge to the balloon. After all, it's my ship. You're just renting it. Yeah, no need to get defensive. We'll give the tour together. Besides, she still needs to meet the crew. Fair enough. Bridge, eatery, sleeping quarters, cannons, kitchen, best of the best. Quite impressive. 25 years it took you to build all on your own? Yeah, had to stop a couple of times to get more materials, but I built it myself. A couple last-minute additions, and the brave captain here, I swear, head full of ideas. Never get to retire if I keep him around. Is that so? Yeah. Twilight figures I should go to the academy and let them pick my brains apart, but I have a schedule to keep, and that would take far too long. Maybe after I'll publish a book. Then again, I don't really want to throw off Equestria's balance. Some things should remain unknown. Such as? Nuclear fission. I deadpanned. Agreed. She said with some sort of degree of shock that I knew of it. But duh, she raises a giant nuke in the sky every morning. Of course, she knows about it. Well, now that the tour's over, would you mind introducing me to the crew? Celestia asked. Oh, right. Of course. Well, there's me. And then there's Gilla. She's the one who first found me passed out in the Dragon Badlands. We hung out for a while, and did some training, planning, and junk, and then I got eaten by a dragon. But, as I like to say, I'm quite chewy, and he choked on me. That is when I got this. I pulled out Hades and held it up, so it didn't sink to the floor. I twirled it a bit and put it back. Then we met Trix in Stalingrad, and I got arrested for being a griffin. They wanted to sell my sword for bits. Well, she was in there because she had taken stealing in order to eat. Some sob story later, and we find ourselves busting her out. Then we saved Blue Blood on the border to the jungle. I can't help but notice you let her ride you around, the Sun Princess pointed out. Yeah, it works. She can't fly and doesn't have the speed or endurance to keep up. And I get someone who keeps me in line, watches my back, and you wouldn't believe it, but it's actually comfy having something there. I don't know why, but it is. So, we trained and fight as a single unit. It's pretty effective. And the Diamond Dogs? Guys, say hello. Etch had his tail between his legs while Growl was just standing there. Okay then. Growl is normally quiet, but he's actually a brilliant artist. He designed out our flag and everything. Etch, well, Etch is Etch. Hard worker, tends to talk a lot, and although he's probably a bit scared of you, which is why he's clammed up. You guys can go back to work if you want. And who is this? I don't recognize the species. Hi, I'm Nadine. Griffin rescued my village from a bunch of meanies pretending to be them, and then I joined up so I could go on adventures. I'm a cat. Hi, I'm Maria, and She shrank and gave a whimper. She's just shy. Always has been. She's scared of a lot, and she's pretty much a kid, and has been running most of her life. We look out for her, and she's a fantastic cook. Nadine's a potion maker. Gilda's a ranger. Hi! Shimmer popped out of Gilda's backpack. Oh, hello. This is Shimmer. She's a baby dragon we adopted when we found her next to her mother after she passed away. Gilda's taken to raising her, and they've become pretty attached over the past 2 months since we found her. I see. Has she met Spike? No, unfortunately, Twilight forgot to take him with. Celestia faced up. Oh, I knew I forgot something. I was meaning to talk with her about that. Oh well. Then we have Selma, the elder of the former Lemko tribe. Big, beefy bunch of warriors. They were starving because the Romak were taking their food. Then you have Tiras over there on the gun, chief of the former Romak, stealthy range specialists. They were taking the food because their village got burned down by a dragon, and they were also starving. The 40 or so cats you see are all that's left of both tribes. After I beat the dragon, found them food, and negotiated between them, they named me their chief, and I merged the tribes to the White Wind. Then I took them with me on this little campaign. Once we freed the slaves, we're going to send a bunch of them to the uninhabited islands in the Zebra Archipelago, and then to the southern rainforest. More food, less danger, more room. Won't that cause tension with the cats and zebras? Celestia asked. Well, the cats are mostly a peaceful lot, and there's still uninhabited areas in the forest. But I'm hoping to get the tribes, too. They're okay for the most part, even without a government, and are happy living their lives. They have an understanding and stay off each other's land. The zebras are a peaceful lot. As long as we don't start moving in on their islands, it should be fine. If problems show up, that's what I'll be there for. I see. She just looked around, taking everything in. And finally, you have Steelhorn. He's not actually part of the crew. We're just renting his ship and smith services for the duration of the tour. Shimmer is his apprentice. He acts all mean and greedy, but he's got a heart of gold and just wanted to sail his whole life on a ship. He wants to sell it after we finish test driving it, but you're pretty much the only one who would buy it, me being the other. Well then, it's nice to meet you all, and I'd love to hear more of your adventures, but we're here. Celestia interrupted as the ship docked at the castle, letting the freed prisoners off. They've had a rough time. Make sure they get home safe, and say hi to Luna for me. She nodded and smiled. One of the ponies, a Pegasus mare, with orange coat and lime green mane, turned back to me.
If it weren't for you, I'd have been eaten by that dragon, which, after so long, I was actually looking forward to, having an end to the misery and pain. You gave me my life back. You gave us all our lives back.
Your point?
I'll never forget you.
Whatever. Get your flank home and your friends and your family. You really want to thank me? Adopt a griffin. They could use some family too. We began to sail away from Canerlon, the ponies down below, looking up at the ship in awe.
Griff, think we should give him a show?
Gilda asked. Ah, hell. Why not? Musica a memoria. Shiver my timbers, shiver my soul, yo-ho-heave-ho. There are men whose hearts are as black as coal, yo-ho-heave-ho.
And they sailed their ship across the ocean blue, a bloodthirsty captain and a cutthroat crew.
It's as dark a tale as was ever told of the lust for treasure and the love of gold.
Shiver my timbers, shiver my sides, yo-ho-heave-ho. There are hungers as strong as the winds and tides, yo-ho-heave-ho. And the buccaneers drown their sins in rum.
The devil himself would have to call and scum.
Every man on board would kill his fleet for a bag of guineas or a piece of egg.
Sorry.
A piece of it.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Hula waka, something not right. Many wicked, icky things gonna happen tonight. Hula waka, sail and beware.
When there's money in the ground, there's murder in the air.
Murder in the air.
One more time now.
Shiver my timbers, shiver my bones. Yo-ho-heave-ho. There are secrets that sleep with old Davy Jones. Yo-ho-heave-ho.
When the mainsail set and the anchors weigh, there's no turning back from any course that's laid.
And when we on the
You get the direction, forward, get every Shiver my timbers, shiver my sails, dead men tell no tales. We passed out the shield and onto the open sky. Once we were clear, I had the crew fire off and unload a full broadside. Basically, just make as much noise as possible. After all, the song really just isn't the same if you don't fire cannons at the end. He sure knows how to make a statement, doesn't he, Luna? That he does. So what does he have planned for the wedding? Luna asked. I think I forgot to invite him, Celestia replied. You're forgetting a lot lately. I've had a lot on my mind, she defended. Still, you should make sure he knows to come, the younger sister suggested. Whatever. If he wants to be there, he'll show up, invited or not.